many people are now talking about how horrific the Supreme Court is, and they're trying, some of them, trying to blame third parties, right? Blame Jill Stein, blame anybody who voted for Bernie or anybody who didn't vote. All that is bullshit in about 12 different ways. I've already mentioned some of them. I'm going to bring some new ones here right now. It's bullshit for one thing that Ruth Bader Ginsburg could have stepped down under Obama about 3 different times because she had cancer a lot. She was riddled with cancer and yet was like, no, I'm going to hang in here through the Obama administration and see what comes next. Well, next was Donald Trump, and we know what happened. That's just one reason. But here's some more from Jill Stein. Jill Stein posted this. She's obviously running as the Green Party presidential candidate. She says, every 4 years, we're regularly told we have to vote blue no matter who because of the Supreme Court. But voting for Democrats to fix the Supreme Court is betting on a sure loser. It's not happening. Democrats aren't saving SCOTUS, and they're not saving us from SCOTUS either. Most of you know, but SCOTUS is the initials for Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS. I prefer to call it SCROTUS because I feel like scrotum should be in there somewhere. So SCROTUS is terrible. She continues, while Republicans have been carefully strategizing a judicial takeover for decades, Democrats have been fumbling away SCROTUS seats and fast-tracking GOP judicial appointees. And many of you may remember how quickly the Democrats would plow through these right-wing justices. I mean, the approval process wouldn't last very long. Meanwhile, Obama had a Supreme Court pick after, you remember, died. And he put forward Merrick Garland, who's now Attorney General. The reason Merrick Garland didn't get in there is because the Democrats just, they have the spinal fortitude of arthritic jellyfish. So they just backed down and didn't, they accepted the Republican stall techniques. They barely even pushed the country to demand that the Democrats get their Supreme Court pick because the Democrats aren't actually fighting for us. And that's what Jill Stein's saying. They don't actually care as deeply as you think they do. These justices agree on the core issues that the ruling elite actually care about. These justices are not going to get away and not going to get in the way of tax cuts for the rich. They're not going to get in the way of workers being exploited. They're not going to get in the way the environmental destruction that corporations enjoy so much. They're not going to get in the way of big oil. They're not going to get in the way of capitalism in general. So you get down to core reality, and these justices, despite seeming very different, agree on those core issues, and that's why they're in that spot, and that's why the Democratic ruling elite, which are all capitalists, are not actually as concerned as you might think about this, about SCROTUS. Jill Stein continues, when it leaked that SCROTUS was planning to overturn Roe v. Wade, the Democrats did nothing to codify this critical protection for women, just like they've done nothing for the past 50 years, in spite of their repeated promises. All they did was fundraise and tell people to vote blue harder. Vote harder. Just yank the lever or push the pretend computer button harder. Push that touchscreen that will never tell you whether your vote was actually counted because the code is proprietary and you can never learn what actually happened. Push that so hard that your finger goes through the screen that you push so hard on that screen for the bluey. And then everything will work out. Now that SCROTUS has gone full mask off in support of tyranny, what are Biden and the Democrats doing about it? Fundraising and telling people to vote blue harder. That is basically all they do. Oh, I missed a sentence. She said, when SCROTUS gutted the Voting Rights Act, the Democrats did nothing but fundraise and tell people to vote harder. Right now, what are they doing? Nothing but fundraising and telling people to vote harder. Why aren't they telling people to storm the streets? If they actually thought, and this is perhaps the most important point, if our ruling elite actually thought that this was the slippery slide to tyranny, that the Supreme Court had just given an open check to tyrants to do whatever, a blank check to tyrants to do whatever they want. If they actually believe that, shouldn't they be standing there on television? I mean, the Democrats that are in power right now, that are in position right now, that run a lot of our systems right now, shouldn't they be on TV, on Twitter, online saying, storm the goddamn streets, tear down the doors. We are on the brink of tyranny. Light it up. Shouldn't that be what they're saying if they actually meant this? If this was what they actually meant? No. Instead, send us your $20 check and push that screen a little harder. That's it. That's all. Because it's a fucking theater. It's a theater. It's a show. And I hope you're enjoying it. It is the fakest bullshit. And here we are. And what we're supposed to do as good Americans is pretend that it is all that matters. It is all that will create change. It is all that will create a better world. And it fucking won't. They have been worse than useless because they turn every terrible decision into a convenient excuse for not even trying to do things they promised to the voters. Voting for Biden to deal with this illegitimate, corrupt, rogue court is like calling Mr. Magoo to stop a fascist coup. Yes, I appreciate the rhyme there, Jill. Way to rhyme. We need to call it what it is. The court has sided with tyranny over democracy, and just like King George III in 1776, it's got to go. So let's continue on this vein in terms of what the Democrats have the ability to do right now, what they've had the ability to do, what they should be doing if they mean what they say about our courts. And this one comes from my buddy Adam McKay. I call him my buddy because I interviewed him once on Redacted Tonight. And that is the extent of our relationship. Me and him go way back. We were in Nam together. Adam McKay tweeted out, yes, Biden needs to drop out, and anyone suggesting otherwise is legally speaking a clown. Legally speaking. I like that it's legally speaking. But that shotgun blast to an already teetering Constitution scrotus just inflicted has to be dealt with immediately. No? In my opinion, there are two moves. And here are the moves he says. One, fight like hell to expand the court by 3 justices. For those who are unfamiliar with this, it may seem like a law written in stone, brought down by Moses and delivered to the people by the Lord saith. The Lord saith that there must be 9 justices. But in fact, it's not in the Constitution. It's nowhere. We just made it up that there are 9 Supreme Court justices. We could add 3 or 12 or 45 at any moment we want. And then if there were 45 justices, first of all, you could have excellent cases, excellent people deciding them if you wanted to, and it wouldn't change things if you had 45. But you know what it would change is that every time one of them gets sick or dies or retires or whatever, everyone would not freak the fuck out because there'd be a lot more. You wouldn't have to go, oh my God, this changes everything. Adam says, option number 1. Fight like hell to expand the court by 3 justices. Some Republicans even seem rattled by the immunity ruling. Why not push to get enough to join in to, not let the country descend into total fascism, as opposed to the 77% fascism we already have? See, another reason I like Adam McKay is he's willing to tell you that we're already 70% of the way there. Unfortunately, adding 3 justices to the court would require Democrats to give impassioned speeches. What? Rally public support? No. And publicly call out big money and the representatives it owns. Big money owns. What? Never. Democrats, he says, and Democrats are only built to give 20-minute speeches at fundraisers on the Cape and make occasional appearances on MSNBC because they are rich clowns who stand for nothing despite pretending they do. The second option, Adam McKay says, is to arrest Thomas and Alito for treason, given the naked bribes, particularly Clarence Thomas has taken naked bribes that we now know about, and support of January 6th, and both of them have heavily supported January 6th. Both have demonstrated in what way haven't they committed treason? They do not have total immunity. If Supreme Court Justice murdered someone, what would happen? Meaning they don't have total immunity is his point, which is true. And whether you want to accuse them of treason or not, I don't know that they're any more treasonous than all these goons. You could very easily make a case that at least Clarence Thomas has taken many bribes and is in bed with people who've had cases in front of the court. So it should be a no-brainer to drag him out of there kicking and screaming. Adam McKay continues, sadly, the old broken down carriage horses of the Democratic Party probably won't do anything, not probably, definitely won't do anything, then ride around Central Park like they always do, worry about optics, fundraising, future lobbying jobs. But if this isn't a pedestrian suddenly opening up a red umbrella, what is? Adam McKay concludes, I'm curious to hear from any legal experts about charging them with treason. And if you're a liberal, no need to comment with, that'll never work. It's complicated. Just vote for Biden. I just assume that you're either saying or thinking 24/7. And I like that. Another reason I like Adam McKay is he's not afraid to take digs at squishy liberals who act like they want one thing. We got to change this horrible court. And how are we going to do it? Just vote for the crypt keeper that is apparently the president and can't complete a sentence. Just vote for that. And it'll be fine. Oh, really? That's your big stand? Impressive.